All right, coming to you live from DockerCon here in Austin, Texas. I'm here with Chris Hoge. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, OpenStack Foundation, what do you do there?
So I do a number of things. For a long time I was involved with the interoperability working group and kind of setting the standards for the OpenStack powered trademark program. But this year sees me engaging a lot more with the containers and Kubernetes communities.
Well, DockerCon will be the place to talk about that. So what all are you doing? Is this stuff around Murano and Magnum? Is this different things or?
The answer to that is yes. So OpenStack integrates with containers at a number of different levels. So kind of at the containers on OpenStack, we have a number of different projects in the ecosystem. So you mentioned Magnum. That's the OpenStack project that is focused on container orchestration, and so it takes projects like Docker Swarm or Kubernetes and it places an API in front of them so that you can launch Docker Swarm clusters or launch Kubernetes clusters on top of an OpenStack cloud and have those have those resources available to you through a common API.
So I was reading an interesting article maybe a year plus talking about how OpenStack can run Kubernetes or can be run within Kubernetes. It was sort of this sort of a Can you explain that?
Yeah. So okay, so the instance I was talking about before was taking an OpenStack installation and then running Kubernetes or Docker or something on top of that. On the flip side of that, containers are also a fantastic way for managing applications inside of your infrastructure, and OpenStack is a bunch of microservices that interact with one another, and so they actually become pretty good candidates for running inside of containers. And so we have a few projects in the OpenStack ecosystem that are based in running OpenStack inside of containers. So if you look at Kolla, they take all of the OpenStack projects, bundle them into containers. They build containers out of them. You can actually go and download them off of the Docker Hub right now. And then they use a number of different orchestration tools to install those. The most kind of up-to-date one is what they call Kolla Ansible, which uses Ansible to spread out to install OpenStack on top of containers. But there's also Kolla Kubernetes, which is doing the same thing, but on top of a Kubernetes installation. And there's also a new project in our ecosystem called OpenStack Helm, which takes a similar approach. It is they're building containers and using the Helm project to orchestrate the deployment of OpenStack on top of Kubernetes.
Very cool. So what about other things in the ecosystem, like your CoreOS or Mesos or Rancher? How would those plug? Is that something the community does or something you're working on? Or
yeah, this is something that's largely community driven. I mean, one of the really nice things about the OpenStack ecosystem is that we provide you a single platform that gives you many different resources that you can use for your infrastructure. So one example of this is there is an OpenStack provider within upstream Kubernetes. And we're working at taking that provider out and making that an upstream OpenStack project so that we have the expertise to build that provider so that anybody else can come along and use that to integrate OpenStack with Kubernetes. And it doesn't even have to be we're installing one project on top of the other, or we're using it in this way, or that they're competing with one another, but rather OpenStack can also provide a number of different services to the container community, almost as side projects. So Cinder is a perfect example of this, of how if you have a number of different, you can use Cinder as your volume provider for Kubernetes, and the upstream OpenStack provider, gives you all of the integrations to do that.
Awesome, Chris Hoge. Thanks so much.
Oh yeah, thank you.